Hey everybody, Barbecue Tom here. Today we are making pizza. So what you're looking at here is 1 cup of warm water, 2 tablespoons of active dry yeast, and 1¼ tablespoons of sugar put into a mixing bowl or a mixer bowl with a dough hook on it. And then I'm just turning that on the stir setting to go for about 5 minutes until it gets nice and frothy, and we'll go from there. So after it's stirred and combined nicely, you bring the dough hook up, stop it from stirring, obviously, and it's going to start getting nice and frothy. You're going to see it, if you look really close, you'll start to see it kind of bubble up, and you see a little bit of it there. It starts to look like a really thick beer head, almost like a Guinness or something like that. You're going to give that a few more minutes. Then add some olive oil and the flour and the sugar, and we'll go from there. All right, so after 5, 10, 15 minutes, this is what your warm water, active dry yeast, and sugar mixture is going to look like. It's important to note the active dry yeast that I use says the temperature of the water should be about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. If I'm in the mood, I'll grab a thermometer and measure it out. But as long as it's warm, generally you're okay. So now the next step here is to add 1½ tablespoons of olive oil. You want to use good quality olive oil. The better quality, the better your dough is going to be. So we're going to go ahead and put that in. And then I usually add a little bit extra just for good measure. And then it's time to stir that up, and this is only going to take a minute or two. Just get it nice and stirred. Actually, a minute or two is probably a lie. It's only going to take a few seconds. Just want to get that nice and stirred up. And then while that's stirring, I'm going to go ahead and pour in the flour and salt mixture. So it's 3 cups plus 1 tablespoon of flour and 1¼ teaspoons of salt. You can sift those together beforehand, or just do what I do and just put the salt on top, and it's all going to get mixed up here. And then just let this go, mixing with the dough hook until it's thoroughly combined and starting to get a nice elastic look and feel to it. You'll notice it starts peeling off of the side. Sometimes, I guess depending on how accurately I've measured out the flour, I'll notice that it's staying pretty dry. So I'll add a couple tablespoons extra warm water and just kind of add that as necessary until it gets to the point where it's pulling everything off and it's made one nice big dough clump. So I'm going to let that go and I'll show you what happens next. Okay, so after about 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, this is what it's going to look like. You're going to have one nice ball of dough. It's going to be sticking to the hook, and it's going to be sticky, but not too sticky to touch. If you need to, go ahead and add some extra water to get it to get to this point, then go ahead and do that. Otherwise, just give it some time. I added a little bit extra water. Then I actually found out I put in too much. It started kind of making that smacking lip sound, and it looked a little too wet. So then I just added a little bit extra flour, and just a little bit, and kind of watched it for a few more minutes. It looked like that was all it needed, and then you got to this. So you can see that what's nice about this flour is you can touch it. It's not too sticky. It's really easy to work with. It makes making pizzas a lot easier. And speaking of the flour, the stuff I use, the brand isn't as important. This is the 00 here. You can see that. That is for pizzas, and in some places they'll call it bread flour. It's just finely ground. It's usually in Italian. I get it here in the GTA at Longo's. And this is a new brand, this La Melisana. They used to carry another brand which was in a red bag, but performance-wise, I've found it works perfectly. You can even see down here It says ideal for pasta, fata and casa, pizza, penne and dolce. I don't know what the other two are. Like I said, it's in Italian, but that's what you use. So now I've put it into a lightly greased bowl, and I'm going to wrap it with saran wrap and leave it for, depending on the temperature of your kitchen, an hour or 2 hours. Basically, you want to see it proof and double in size. And then once that's happened, you know that it's ready to portion out, proof a little bit again, and then you can start making your pizza. So I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's done proofing, and we'll go from there. All right, so after letting the dough proof for a couple hours, it has more than doubled in size. So you can go ahead and take off the saran wrap, if I could talk. And then you just want to put a little bit of flour on a work surface. Just kind of punch out the air on the dough, and then there you go. So you can, again, using this flour, it's not very, the dough is not very sticky. Not like you'd be used to if you were making pastry or something like that. So generally I will roll it out into a log like this and then split it up into 3 pieces. The recipe that I'm following actually says you could make 4 pizzas with this. I find 3 bigger ones work better for me and my family. But it really just kind of personal preference. Play with it, see how thin you want it, stuff like that. And that's it. Once portioned out into 3 pieces, you're going to want to cover those again and let them proof until about double size again. All right, so here they are, portioned out into 3 more or less equal balls of dough. Then with a clean kitchen or tea towel, you just want to cover them. And probably in about 15 to 20 minutes, they will be doubled in size and ready to be rolled out and turned into pizza. This would be a good time to get your egg ready for cooking. You want to set it up for indirect heat using your plate setter. And we're going for anywhere from 550 to 600 degrees Fahrenheit is the temperature we want to cook these pies at. Okay, so here's the setup. I've got this Ceramic Works double grill, or the swing out double tiered grill. And can't see with all the smoke, but the plate setter is underneath. And then on each grill, you have a pizza stone. And it's important to put the pizza stone in right away and preheat it with the grill. Otherwise, if you try and get the grill up to 600 degrees and put the pizza stone in, it's most likely going to crack. So I just wanted to show you that. It's very important that the stone heats up with the grill. And if you can, let it sit at 600 for about 15 to 20 minutes. Just to, because it's ceramic, it's going to take a little bit extra time to get up to temperature. And a little pro tip is if you add some wood chunks, some smoking chunks, in this case I'm using apple, it's going to give that pizza the extra kind of, classic wood oven taste. So you can see it's smoking pretty good in there. I put in a few chunks. Okay, so it shouldn't take too long, and the dough balls will be about double the size. You can kind of punch them or smack them down again. Now what you're going to do is stretch them out and roll them into the base of the pizza, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Okay, so once you wash your hands, you can just roll the dough kind of between your fingers like this, making a nice round shape, as nice as possible. Then what you want to do is put it on some parchment paper. If you don't have parchment paper, you can just flour a work surface and use that. But I find the parchment paper keeps the kitchen nice and clean and makes the pizza a lot easier to get on and off. So then you want to roll it out, and using a rolling pin. You'll notice a lot of my stuff is pink. I have 2 daughters and my wife. So, yeah, being the only man in the house, I get outvoted on a lot of kitchen accessories, but whatever color it is, it still works. So you want to roll it out as thin as you want. It's a bit of a preference, but you know, you want a nice sized pizza. Try to keep it looking round. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're not Domino's, but you know. So that's pretty good. Nice and flat. And again, the dough's a little bit sticky, but not what you're probably used to if you're making pastries or stuff like that. So keep it in general shape. Now, to prevent the pizza from bubbling up, you use one of these. It's called a dough docker. Like $5-6 off Amazon. And you just do this. And it stops the dough from bubbling up. And now it's ready for toppings. Pizza I'm showing you today is something I learned from my friend, Papa Spellman. He taught me this when we were visiting him and his family. It is called the ranch pizza, ranch bacon pizza, whatever you want. So instead of pizza sauce, you put down ranch salad dressing, your favorite kind, and then you spread it out just like you would pizza sauce. And then I'm actually trying to use up a few different kinds, so that might be a lot, but whatever. So I'm going to get that mixed in. It makes it a little bit more sauce-like too. That home-style stuff was thicker. And again, we want to try and get it right to the edges. This is everybody's favorite pizza. As soon as they try it, this is what they all ask for. The kids love it. My daughter has even had Boston pizza, try to recreate it for her when we were out one night. So it's definitely a crowd pleaser. And you know, the basic recipe is so simple that it's easy to kick up a few notches. So there we go. You probably don't want this much sauce. This is probably a bit too much sauce. I'm sure my daughters will tell me that when they eat it, but there we go. So that's that. The next thing you want to do is just use your favorite pizza cheese. In my case, it's mozzarella. You want to spread it all around, nice and even. Can't really have too much cheese on a pizza, but you know. Okay, so try to fill in any bare spots, and then you just put on some bacon. Ideally, you've got homemade bacon, but I ran out of homemade bacon. So this is just the ready, what's it called? Ready Crisp. You want it to be cooked and cold, but pre-cooked so that it doesn't, you don't want kind of soggy or, I don't know what the word is, but chewy bacon. You want it to be nice and crispy. And there you go. So that's that. Then it's going to go on the egg for about 5 to 7 minutes. So I like to trim the parchment paper just so it doesn't hang over the edges of the stone and catch on fire. The egg is almost at 600 degrees. Nice and hot, nice and smoky. And just slide it right on like that. After about a minute, I'll take off that parchment paper and let it cook for another 5 or 6 minutes. Okay. So, you can see cheese is already bubbling. You kind of have to be careful here. You want to just, ooh, that's hot. Pull the parchment paper out without burning yourself. And then you're good to go. I've got another pizza up here going. I'm not talking about this recipe today, but on another video blog I will. And there you go, another 5-6 minutes and these will be ready. Okay, ooh, so that's a little well done. Oh, actually the bottom's pretty good. And that's it, cut it up and serve it.